Eat 'em. I'm here with my good old friend Yule Smith. Yule Smith used to be the executive director for the Louisiana Seafood Promotion Board. He's been working with me for close to 30 years or so, since the Nutria promotion, the Asian carp, and we got a few stories to tell you guys about both Asian carp flying around and slapping around folks on the boat. Yule, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic, sir. How are you?
Well, I'm good. I'm good. You know, every time your name come across, I will never forget that trip, that night trip with those fishermen, North Louisiana, trying to get some Asian carp. And I want you to tell my viewer exactly that night what you witnessed with those Asian carp.
Oh man, Chef, that was the first time I'd ever been out on a boat looking for Asian carp, and so it was getting the sun was definitely going down on us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was dark.
It was getting
dark.
difficult
He
to
had
see,
lamps.
but we still had an idea where we were going.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the motors stir up the fish. When the fish feel the vibration of the motors, they start jumping. And next thing you know, we were in a tiny little boat. I mean,
Yeah,
that thing couldn't have been but 21 feet. The four of us in it, and you and I were sitting behind the captain of the boat, and directly in front of me was another fisherman sitting there. So there's four of us sitting two and two. And all of a sudden, the fish start jumping. And it's chaotic because we're all just looking everywhere, and they're jumping in our boat, hitting us and everything. But all of a sudden, one of them jumps up, hits the guy in front of me, hits his shoulder, and the tail comes swinging around and slaps him in the back, and it sounds like a cap gun or a gun going off because it hits the crack, or a crack of a whip is really what it sounded like. And it slapped him so hard it left the entire imprint of the fish along the backside of his back. I still have a picture of that.
Well, I do too. I do too.
And not only do I have the picture of it, it's ingrained in my mind because it seems like it was yesterday when that happened. I can
know.
still see it as I'm talking to you.
When we're gonna edit this podcast, we're gonna show that tail right there. I promise you. You know
Yes, sir.
the imprint of the tail at the, I mean that was
Yep.
that was at least a 30-40 pounder hit that guy.
Yeah.
He was hurt.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was hurt. So talking about that, well, you know, you've been fighting those Asian carp with me for 15, 16 years or so. And you were one of the first ones who said, we do have a problem with these. And that's a solution to really get them out of the water. You remember that?
Well, the minute you explained it to me, and the minute I understood it,
Yeah.
I realized this is going to be a big issue.
Oh.
And I know some people weren't taking it seriously. There's no question.
That's
about
right.
that. And sure enough, just about everything you've talked about regarding the Asian carp has come to fruition, not just in Louisiana, but across the entire United States.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. You know, and I will display that too also on that podcast. But the Mississippi Basin, right? You know, very few people will understand how huge this is. It covered over 2/3 of the United States, and
Yeah.
every inch of those waters, you know, they got the Asian carp in it swimming. It's like a cancer, you know, took over literally, and so it is a big problem. And so you helped me out, you in many ways to promote my agenda. Can't beat them, eat them, cooking Asian carp and serving Asian carp, and we did that several times, you and I. But one particular episode, and I want you to to kind of tell and to tell the viewer, is the experience at the Navy cook-off. That
yeah.
was 2 years ago, right?
2 years ago, yes. We've done it twice. We produced the U.S. Navy seafood cook-off here in New Orleans. I've done it
Correct.
3 or 4 times for
Yes.
them, for the U.S. Navy.
Yes, and
And
we
the
promoted
last one-
a couple of times too. We-
The last one, you placed.
Yeah, but tell us about the last one. So, when what went down when you called me and want to be a participant, and how that worked. Teamed up with the Navy ship chef, and pretty much go run that through.
Yeah,
That's pretty
yeah,
unique
yeah. So what
experience.
happens is that it's the tall ships that come to New Orleans once every 2 years, and I got contracted by the U.S. Navy by a group here that works with the U.S. Navy, and to help produce and MC the event. And you helped me secure some of the chefs to be in
Correct.
that event. I know the chef from LSU.
Yeah.
Michael, is it Michael Johnson? Is that his
Yeah.
name?
Mike Johnson. Yeah.
Yep, Mike Johnson and another friend of yours.
Danielle
They came
Bono.
in. Yep, they
Yeah,
came in to
and a
compete
few others.
with you and some other local chefs that were able to pull
Hmm.
into the event.
So yeah.
And you competed with Asian carp, and that's the first time Asian carp had ever placed in any cook-off in the United States. And it opens the mind and it helps educate people. And people, I think what people really need to realize, if you're thinking about carp, this is not the carp that we all grew up hearing about. This carp, and you can explain it way better than I can, is such a clean fish because it's not eating other fish. It's eating grass or out
Hmm.
with
Like the common carp, they are not
oh god,
omnivores. They planktivores.
that's exactly, yes, the plantivores. So the meat itself is super clean. So in the hands of a chef like yourself or other chefs that know how to work with fish, they can do you all can do amazing things with it. And
Correct.
that's why you were able to place
Well, look,
like you did
we
at that event.
competed with tuna, grouper, crab meat,
Yeah,
all of those
yeah,
high end fish product, and yeah, we came
that's
third.
right.
So it's not really third place. Well, but it's an invasive species, so that was rewarding for us because it helped to propulse the image of
Hmm.
Asian carp as more of a delicacy.
That's right. That's right.
So
So
yeah,
yeah, and you all took it, and the media loves it. By the way,
yeah,
whenever
no,
everything you do with Asian carp, if there's a camera around, I can tell you where the camera's going to go. It's going to go
well,
straight to you because
it's not because I'm beautiful, I promise you.
not only, yeah, not only do you know how to cook it, you know how to showcase
Yeah.
it, and you also bring the fish itself,
Okay.
and then you're able to educate people, and they see the size of that fish, and then they
Oh
understand.
my God!
You do a
Remember
great
that?
job explaining.
Yeah.
You do a great job explaining how many eggs, because you'll have a female fish with you.
Yeah.
You'll explain how
1
many
million
eggs, and
eggs.
maybe
Let's
talk about
emphasize
that.
on that. 1 million eggs. Yes, folks. 1 million eggs every 10 pound. And so a 30 pound will do 3 million eggs literally once, perhaps twice a year. So it's hard to fight that.
That's a lot of fish. And what's the survival rate?
Huh? Well,
What's
depending
this?
of the area, in some area it's like up to 70%, depending where they, because the Mississippi River basin is so big, so in some places they survive more than the other. But let's put it this way: we are in a trouble with those Asian carp because the fact that they reproduce so fast. There is no obvious predators that can regulate those type of density, population density. So
That's right.
yeah, we have a big problem with that, and that's why we are in this particular big issue with
Hmm.
both Asian carp threatening literally from water quality to recreational and commercial fishing, water sport activity because they jump so high into the water they can hit you in the head and kill you actually. So this is how dangerous they are. They eat plankton, um, half of their body weight for sure on a daily basis. And so imagine a 50 pounder, 25 pound of plankton every day they gobble up. Don't leave anything left for native fish to survive because we need to understand that aquatic life survive and depend on plankton when they are born, literally, like they are little larvas trying to survive. Without plankton, they don't survive. So they call it the silent killer because they don't eat other fish, but they will literally displace other fish because of lack of plankton, and that's the biggest problem about those Asian carp.
And we saw that. So when that trip you took me on, um, that was for the River Monsters show.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, by
That
the
was the
way,
night before. That was the night before we went out with the River
Jeremy
Monsters group.
Wade, I think his name
Yes.
was
So we
there.
went out on that trip, and we spent the whole day, but the river was void of any other fish. That area of the river.
Yeah,
It
you
was just
remember when we put that that
really the Asian carp.
was with about 100, 200 yard gill net, and we zigzagged it.
Yeah.
It was, I think, the Washita River, and then
Yeah.
we have all. It was like 5,000 pounds worth of Asian carp, one catfish and one garfish. Remember that?
Yeah.
That's a density of the Asian carp population in the river basin. It's unbelievable. It really is.
Yeah. So that was eye opening seeing that. I mean, that was the night before we were getting slapped by the fish. The next day we were watching a film crew capture you and the gentleman from River Monsters.
Yeah, yeah. Jeremy Wade.
But,
Yeah, nice
Jeremy
guy.
Wade,
He was
sure.
really nice. He was very sympathetic and understood the problem too, very much so. So I think it was Mighty Rivers, the name of a show
Yep, that
with
was it.
Jeremy
That was it.
Wade. So if you have a chance, watch this. It was really well done. So now we talked about the Asian Cup. Is another one that I want to talk to you about is 2 years ago we went in Venice, Louisiana. Okay?
Yes, we did.
Okay. What did we do there, Yule?
Oh, we were cooking chicken.
The swamp chicken?
All right, chef, I've had some fun with you.
Yeah.
All right, you were doing gumbo,
Correct.
and it was apocalyptic almost watching the pickup trucks come in with nutria. So there was a nutria contest to see who could bring in the most nutria, and not only who would bring in the most nutria from all the fishermen and hunters that went out to catch the nutria, but also it was who had the largest catch
Yeah.
by pounds of a nutria, and the nutria just kept coming in all day, and the pickup trucks would come in the back of a bed of a pickup truck was filled with
Yeah.
nutria, and they were unloading all the nutria for the gumbo. So you made a lot of gumbo that night.
You edited a short video,
Yep.
from that trip, and it's on Chef Philippe Parola YouTube channel. You need
Yep.
to watch this video, gentlemen. It's really well worth it, and you did a great job, Yul, on doing that little video for us. But I want you to tell us a little bit about the reaction of these people when they came and eat the gumbo.
Well, I think we need to put it in context.
Okay.
If we try to do that in the city of New Orleans, people will probably be freaking out a little bit because it's nutria, right? That's their perception of it.
Yeah.
But we were at Venice is at the very bottom of the boot of the state. If you're looking at the map, it's the tip that sticks out furthest point.
The end
into
of the
Gulf
road.
Mexico. So everybody that's down there are hunters and fishermen. So they understand nutria. They understand all the wild animals and the fishes that are out there. And there are people down there that live off the land, literally
Oh yeah.
live off the land.
Many
so
of
they
them.
They understood what you were doing. In nutria, by the way, taste. It looks like chicken when it's being cooked. I wasn't joking about the chicken part.
Yeah.
It looks like chicken when it's being cooked. You wouldn't know the difference looking at it almost.
Yeah.
But when you eat it, it's got the same texture. It does have a little bit of gamey flavor to it, like you would any other wild animal. But the people there appreciated it because they're used to hunting and fishing and eating wild game. Mm-hmm. So it was normal in a lot of ways.
Well,
it's just it's never harvested. And you shared something I thought that was really interesting, Chef. There are hundreds of millions of pounds of nutria. They're causing havoc along our estuaries, which puts the city of New Orleans at risk, puts the other seafood populations at risk. It erodes our wetlands, that's how it puts the city of New Orleans at risk because we lose our wetlands. The wetlands help protect the city of New Orleans.
Yeah.
And what you're trying to do is not only educate people on that aspect of it, but there's this protein source that's massive, that's not
That's right.
captured every year. And for all the people who are hungry, you can literally feed a lot, hundreds of thousands of people.
It's healthier than any other type of red meat you can buy, including
That's right.
chicken, for sure. Um,
And wait, say that again. I want people to hear that.
okay, it's healthier than any other
Yeah.
type of meat that you can buy in a supermarket or your grocery store, simply because nutria, they feed on roots and stem of plants, which is raw protein. Nutria have the highest content of protein than any other meat on the market. Nutria meat is absolutely incredibly healthy for you, no doubt.
So it was good. People are down there. They loved it, and it's a sight to see. I will say that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, oh yeah. That they no doubt. It was around. If I correct me again, but it was around what 3,500 nutria caught that day
Or more.
or
Easy.
more. I mean, it was unbelievable. So
Yeah.
the density, the population density in Louisiana and pretty much across the country now because they are everywhere, but especially in the marsh area,
Yeah.
it's just incredibly explosive. Still today, even so, we do have cut the tail program, and some of his trappers who are involved with it, they were saying, and I remember that very well, that don't do no dent into the problem we're having, and we saw it when they brought up all those nutrias in one time. I mean, it was unbelievable.
It's so bad, and I'll share a little anecdote there.
Okay.
This is before I met you. We're early on when I was dating my wife. We were coming home from a movie. We were going back to her apartment after a movie, going down West Esplanade in Metairie, Louisiana. And the nutria were that we weren't aware that they were in our fisheries as much back then. This is going back to the 90s. But they were so prevalent, they still had a huge presence in the state in our canal systems. And it was so bad. It was so bad. Harry Lee, who was the sheriff of Jefferson Parish,
I remember
my wife and I, we're coming home from down West Esplanade Avenue, and there's a truck, a blacked out flatbed police truck with all the guys in the back of the truck in black with sniper rifles. And they were shooting the nutria in the canal going down, and they were going slow. So we got stuck. We didn't know what was going on. But that literally, Harry Lee had his policeman, it looked like SWAT, going after the nutria as we were driving home, passing up that truck. That was, that was my first experience really understanding how significant a problem it was.
You know, that was giving a bad rap on what I was trying to do at the same time, promoting nutria meat. You know, you work hard to build a good image, and then suddenly the newspaper is talking about this, and like, boy, you collapse again. But again, those nutria we're cooking, they're out of the wild part. They're not from the city of New Orleans. We need to,
that's right. But we didn't understand that, right? But now you've been educating people. You started to turn that process around. But that's how prevalent they are.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, I know. I mean, it's amazing to see the danger and the erosion. That is coming up towards New Orleans and the slow down with the vegetation barrier, slowing it down. But both nutria, they go eat this vegetation barrier, and here come the water, here come the erosion. So
I saw it firsthand after the BP oil spill. I went up in a plane, a little Cessna plane, and we were flying over, and you could see the nutria trails in the wetlands where the nutria just tore up, made a trail physically dividing up the wetlands. You could literally see that. That's how dominant they are in the wetlands.
So we know that the Asian carp is a threat to our fisheries here, including oysters, the shrimp, and blue crab. But do you think that the nutria also can affect the fishery, because you're a big supporter of local fisheries. And
Yeah.
what do you think about that?
They are a threat. I mean, you predicted when we met, when we first sat down and actually dug into this subject the first time you sat down with me,
Uh-huh.
and you explained to me, and well, you didn't explain. You predicted that they would adapt and get into the brackish
You're
waters.
talking about Asian carp.
Asian carp,
Yeah.
yes. But so the Asian carp did exactly what you said. I've seen the damage firsthand of nutria flying in the plains
Okay.
after
So
the VP.
how do you think the nutria can affect fisheries? By eating the vegetation,
It
water?
erodes the vegetation, it erodes the wetlands, and as we lose our
Yeah.
wetlands,
Yeah. Okay. So
that
the
affects our
freshwater
fisheries.
part you talk about,
And our
the
fisheries,
brackish water is at stake when the salt water coming
yeah,
in.
that's right. And then, and the shrimp, part of the larval for the growth of the shrimp, they start out offshore, and then they come into the wetlands, and they grow, and then they go back outshore.
Okay, so
that
explain
wetlands
one
is a
thing
critical
for the
place.
listener, because some of them are not really aware. When you do the wetland, so they're coming in from the offshore into our brackish water, and I think what is a bacteria? I think
Yep.
Bay is probably the largest.
All of our bays, all the water estuaries that make up our coast. If you
Yeah.
look at it, if it's not sand, it's probably brackish
So
waters.
this is how important the brackish water is within the Louisiana ecosystem. Is part of the reproduction of shrimp, and I also heard that the pogie, what the other name?
Menhaden.
Yeah,
Menhaden.
Manhattan. They also will come and reproduce in those brackish area. Correct?
That's right. And if you look at shrimp, I mean, it's 100 million pounds of shrimp a year that need that resource, and both the nutria and the Asian carp, as you predicted, we don't know what's going on. We don't know exactly what's going on
You're right.
underneath the water, but the Asian carp are a hidden threat to our ecosystem.
Oh, absolutely.
And
Yeah.
there needs to be more attention on that fish to see what might be the impact of that.
Well, the Mississippi wildlife and fishery, or they call themselves park and fishery, or something like that. They sent me a picture and a comment from a recreational fisherman that was actually fishing for speckled trout, and he snagged an Asian carp in full salted water. So you're right. We do not know, how far, they adapt into the salt water. But they're not just now into our brackish water. They are literally into full salted water. That's amazing. It's just incredible. And yet, it's a shame to say that, but our Louisiana wildlife and fishery is not really doing anything about this. They got all the problem, all the issues that they think that is priorities. But I'm telling you, I think that those Asian carp need to be tackled down for sure.
Well, there definitely needs to be a lot of attention needs to go to it because so much is at risk.
Correct.
If everything you said is correct, and we've seen it proven out from what you said just 15 years ago, about 15 years ago now, that's playing out. How prevalent are the Asian carp in our waters? I mean, they're everywhere now. They're dominating across the United States. So I would put money on it that there's a lot more there than they realize.
Absolutely, and I think that the diversion of the fresh water now that they are working on is going to bring both Asian carp even farther down the south out there. And I don't know really with this diversion what's going to happen to those brackish, this very fragile brackish area where the shrimp and the Manhattan come and reproduce, and go back to the Gulf. I don't know exactly what's going to happen to that, but it don't look very promising.
And I don't think that's in any of the calculations that have been made to do what they're doing.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Oh,
just unbelievable. Well, we have done a lot together for sure, but there's one thing that that then kind of not shocked me, but at one time when I was taking you traveling to the countryside of Louisiana, and you made a comment, and you said, "Chef, how did you know all these people?" You remember that?
yeah. Yes.
And I did tell you, I said, this is my French connection. I got the
Yeah.
real French heritage. So when I was traveling, when I was a young man here in Louisiana, I traveled everywhere. I was invited, my nickname was Frenchie, and I was invited to hunt and fish in so many different places throughout the state. So I met so many people. That was unbelievable. It helped me out to really understand the how people live and feed on the land. Um,
Mhm.
I made so many friends, so many friends. It was unbelievable. So yeah, that's how I pretty much knew all these people.
Well, you've got a legacy here. I mean, you know how to take a wild species, well, no matter what it is, really, and you can turn it into a delicacy. I've seen you do it time and time. Great chefs know how to do that. You do that at an exceptional level, and you also did that. Yeah, you've been very modest. You were the one that reintroduced alligator into the
Oh yeah, I
market.
forgot about that.
And
Yeah,
forget about that.
that was
Alligator. You were the chef that
yeah, that was
reintroduced the alligator to the U.S. market.
yeah. Well, let me tell you, that was an interesting era. I was probably maybe 23 years old. It was in the early 80s. So we're talking about over 40 years ago. Um, and this gentleman, Egon Klein, was dealing with alligator pelt. And he was sending them to Europe to tanneries to make purse and shoes and so on, belt. But the animal right people went on, and it was a big manifest in Paris that started there, where people were against wearing fur coat and et cetera, et cetera. So the decline of the demand of those alligator pelt was there, and the population literally of alligator exploded, and you could find them in area where they were not before. So I remember this gentleman named Egon Klein. Egon actually passed away, oh God, 15 years ago or so. And he was from Romania. And interestingly, Egon, I don't know if you met Egon or not. Probably
No, I
so.
did not.
No.
I
Well,
don't think I met him.
interestingly, that gentleman was absolutely incredible. He was one of the survivor in one of his concentration camp during World War II as a kid, and he was a Jewish from Romania, and he had his number tattooed on his wrist, and he was telling me story about how he survived into those concentration camp. But anyway, he was a very tenacious individual, and he came here in Louisiana and actually started to export was alligator skin. So he came up to me in my restaurant way back then, I said over 40 years ago, with a little ice chest full of alligator meat. And he said, Chef, he said, I can't make any money with the pelt, and I need to see if we can, create something with the meat, make it palatable or good to eat. So I did come up with a cookbook about that. And then way back then, it was no internet, it was no cell phone, so we have to travel literally throughout the whole country promoting, the nutria meat as an exotic meat. But it took probably 5 years of work before we could get a few restaurants there and there to catch on, and then he caught on. And today, alligator meat is probably, oh wow, 12, 15, $18 a pound. I just don't even know. But it is a big
And
business. So yeah, I did start that way back then, 40 and some years ago. I forgot about
and that
that. Thank you, Yul, to
and
remind
while
me this.
yeah, I mean, and the alligator meat is a great product. The
Yeah.
and the wildlife fisheries has done a great job managing that
Yeah.
fishery now that it's back. I mean, that fishery,
Well, they got farm, alligator
that
farm and
species
so on,
is back. Yep.
to
Yep.
provide the meat
So,
and so on. So, but Yul, I got to tell you, not long ago, you remember the fisherman named Richard? Richard?
Mm-hmm.
You remember him? Well, I had him on the phone, and interestingly, he was telling me that where he's at, the alligator population is exploding. They come to the boat to see if they
I
can
believe
get
it.
a fish, to eat. That's amazing. He never seen that before. But he
Mm-hmm.
said the population of alligators is out of control right now.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I just wanted to point that out. And I said, wow, maybe we need to tell our new wildlife and fisheries secretary. By the way, you heard about that, huh?
Yes, I
Uh,
have. We got LSU, we got a brand new secretary.
we
That's
we
good.
welcome
Yep.
her. She is, gentlemen, ladies, she is a 26-year-old young lady out of South Dakota who is coming to run our wildlife and fishery, and I think she's going to support definitely the fishing and the hunting, the Louisiana being the state, the paradise state for outdoors. So we welcome her. I hope that we're going to talk to her about all this, what's going on with invasive species, and see what that can lead to.
Well, the seafood industry alone, just the commercial side, is over $2.5 billion. So she's got a lot of responsibility there to make sure that keeps going strong.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So once again, I definitely welcome her out there. So you are on a special diet. You love those Big Mac, and I think you cut that down. And
I
it's
have.
going to be time for my heart medicine too. You know that,
Oh
right?
Lord. Yes, I know exactly what you're doing. Yes.
What is my heart medicine?
Oh Lord. All right. So you and I were
Tell us
doing
some
promotion
story.
up in Illinois,
Yeah,
and
we were driving up
and
there.
yeah, but we were at an event for Asian carp,
Hmm.
promoting Asian carp at this event with Illinois' Department of Wildlife Fisheries.
It
And you
was
turned to me
actually
and you
the
said, "Oh my
University
God, I
of
forgot my
Illinois.
heart medicine." And I'm like, I didn't even know you had a heart problem.
Yeah.
So I'm walking with you to your car, thinking, "Oh my gosh, this man's going to drop dead on me." And you turn around, you reach into your car and you pull out a cigar and you light it and you look at me like this is my heart medicine. I'm like, "Oh geez."
It worked.
You know,
It's a
you're
good
still here.
medication for me. But you remember when we did that? It was actually the University of Illinois
That's right.
when we did this promotion, eating Asian carp. That was the first time that Asian carp were introduced into college cafeteria.
That's right.
And Dr. Don, who
Mhm.
actually was very instrumental at the time, was a very big part because she was the first one actually to help introduce invasive species into dining hall in universities. Actually, Dr. Dawn Aubrey, and I will never forget her. She was absolutely an incredible lady out there. She was a director of a dining hall, and she did everything in her power to make this happen. So, yeah, it was absolutely amazing. What we did out there.
That's
Think
good.
about it.
Yeah, Chef, you've done a good job with all that. You know,
Well, we need to continue
it's
this.
needed to keep. Huh?
We need to continue this. The spread of Asian cupcake, the silver fan, ended
Mm-hmm.
when the COVID-19 pretty much stopped the world around. So we need to revamp it. We need to revamp this, and we need to continue our
Yep.
crusade in educating people that invasive species are good to eat, and this is the only liable solution to it if you want to remove those invasive species out of the natural wildlife.
That's true, and you know everything else. The federal government has spent hundreds of millions of dollars trying to electrocute the
Billions.
fish, trying to poison the fish, whatever it is they're trying to do, and it has not worked. And
No.
the only in your philosophy can put a level of balance into the marketplace regarding the amount of fish in the market, or in the wild, I should say, and create a market for it because all too well with Chef Paul Prudhomme when he came out with his
Oh,
black and red
yes.
fish. He about wiped out the
Oh,
entire
absolutely. He
redfish
almost
population.
eradicate,
It took
yeah,
off
the
like a
redfish.
rocket, right?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
with the support of all, really, there needs to be a coalition
Yeah.
with the Louisiana Park Wildlife and Fisheries
Oh,
and
yeah, I
all the
know, but
wildlife and
that's not
fisheries.
easy. You know that.
I
Hopefully,
know it's not easy,
secretary
but that
might
needs
be.
to happen because everybody's got a self interest up and down that Mississippi River that needs that
Well,
that everybody that's touched by that Mississippi River is at
you
is
know,
it
as
arm's
I
way
know, all
risk.
right, being in the seafood industry pretty much a good part of your life, and being the ex-director of the Seafood Promotion Board, the price of fish or seafood in general is going up and up and up. Okay, the availability of wild caught fish is pretty much non-existent, and if you want to pay for it, you got to pay the big bucks. Okay, now the import of fish or seafood in this country is over 90%. All right, so here we have a perfectly good native wild caught fish, but because it's called carp, because it's invasive, because it's got many bones into it, people are pretty much reluctant, to eat it. But you and I, actually done plenty of work to try to educate folks, and it did work. We have seen chefs on board using Asian carp on the menu. The Navy cook-off that we did together. So all of these little by little help people to understand this is a good fish. You're missing out. Okay, don't buy the import fish, by God's sake, because you don't have no idea what they feed those fish with, or how they process this fish. The triple sodium. I mean, all of those chemicals they put in that really will kill you in somewhat. So it's important to continue what we're doing, and I'm blessed, and I have you as a friend, and we will keep in touch again. We're gonna bring you back in this podcast, and anything else you would like to address?
I appreciate being here, sir.
Okay, well, Yul, I appreciate you. Like it and subscribe to our channel, Chef Philippe Parola, on YouTube. And Yul, we'll talk very soon, okay? Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, so thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.